happy Valentine. I hope that you and your significant other, I hope that you're spending some quality time together. Or at the very least, I hope that you're doing what you got to do so that you don't get in hot water with that significant other. And those of you who don't have a significant other, well, let's just say you can find some other ways to spend your quality time. Anyway, playing with your toys, right? Anyway, so let's get on with it. Please remember to like and share this video feed. By the way, this is the first time we're going live on YouTube as well as live on Facebook. Normally, you YouTubers, you guys normally have to wait to get kind of the post-game rerun. But this time, we're actually getting it to you live and in living color. So if we're having any technical difficulties, please forgive us. We'll work it out for you. But we appreciate you guys tuning in, and we appreciate you guys sharing this feed, telling people about the Firearms Policy Coalition. So let's get into today's topic, shall we? Now, we all know that, we all know that when it comes to civil rights, we all know that there are some people out there who don't believe that civil rights mean what they mean. They mean, instead of meaning civil rights, rights that are available to all citizens, to all people, they believe that it is special privileges for special people. And so their goal when it comes to the Second Amendment is they want to limit and restrict our right to keep and bear arms. Now, they realize that they can't just ban guns. They're trying, trust me, they're trying, but they realize that they're having more success in actually restricting the individuals who can own a firearm by growing the list of people who are unable to own firearms. Now, you guys probably remember back early on in the early on in the Trump administration, there was a rule that dealt with Social Security. Those who receive Social Security and have someone who is a fiduciary who takes and kind of handles their finances or receives their payments, right? That those individuals, if you had a fiduciary, you were deemed to be mentally ill and could not own a gun, right? You basically lost your rights. There was no determination, no nothing. In fact, let me just give you a little story. And this is a lie, a flat out lie that was told by the media. But let me go ahead. I'm going to show you kind of a story that was done back then about this particular Obama era regulation, not law, but Obama era regulation that sought to take the rights away from law-abiding citizens who were Social Security recipients.
It's one of the most divisive topics in America, and this morning gun rights advocates are celebrating the rollback of an Obama-era regulation that would have added about 75,000 names to the background check database for gun sales. And with Republicans now in firm control of Congress, it could be just the beginning. In just the first month of the Trump presidency, the GOP turning their focus to the politically charged issue of gun control.
The joint resolution is passed.
The Republican Senate voting 57-43 to roll back an Obama-era gun regulation designed to make it harder for certain people with mental disorders from buying a firearm. The rule was written after the Sandy Hook massacre in Newtown, Connecticut, where 20 first graders were among those murdered by a mentally disturbed man. The regulation took years to write and was just finalized in December. It would have added people who get Social Security disability benefits for mental impairment and who are deemed unfit to handle their own financial affairs to the National Background Check Database, about 75,000 names. Republicans say that would have violated their Second Amendment rights.
Repealing this regulation will merely ensure that disabled citizens' Second Amendment rights are, in fact, protected.
But the Brady campaign to prevent gun violence calls it heartless. Democratic Senator Chris Murphy's constituents include Newtown parents.
This is so deeply morally offensive to people in Connecticut, frankly, anybody that's lived through these tragedies.
Today, it's on the way to the White House for President Trump's signature.
We are going to protect our Second Amendment, which is under siege.
Making good on a campaign promise. And with Republicans in charge, ushering in a new era for gun rights advocates in Washington after President Obama spent years trying to convince Congress to pass stricter gun laws.
Every time I think about those kids, it gets me mad.
Even after tearful, emotional pleas, Congress didn't act. Now Murphy fears even more setbacks.
I think this is just the first step. And now the only thing that Congress has done on guns since Sandy Hook is to make it easier for very mentally ill people to get guns.
So we recognize the out and outright lie that's being told here. All right. See, this is the out and outright lie that was being told was simply that this allowed people who were mentally ill to be able to get guns. And that was the exact, it was no, if you had a fiduciary, if you were deemed or you voluntarily decided you wanted to have somebody handle your finances and receive your Social Security payments, well, then you were deemed mentally ill. Now, once again, they never saw a psychiatrist. They never saw a psychologist. There was never any determination by any psychologist, any psychiatrist, anywhere. That's what that regulation did, was it violated their rights. Now, there was one that was actually put in place earlier dealing with veterans. That was the foundation for that regulation. The only reason they were able to overturn that regulation so quickly with a resolution was because it had just been put in place. They were in the first 90 days, and so they were able to do it. So now they're moving forward legislation to undo the very same thing that was occurring to veterans. Watch here.
I would like to raise a very important issue impacting our veterans population, and that issue is a systematic denial of these veterans' Second Amendment rights. This comes up in discussion with Iowa veterans, and I have candidly discussed this issue before on the Senate floor. Today, I am introducing bipartisan legislation co-sponsored by Senator Manchin called, quote, the Veterans Second Amendment Rights Restoration Act of 2018, end of quote. And this bill is being introduced to solve a problem denying these rights to veterans. The legislation is about the fidelity of the Constitution and about the fidelity of the Bill of Rights. It is also about due process and fairness for veterans. What this is not, I want to make clear, what this is not about is allowing anyone to purchase a firearm who is prohibited under current law or regulations.
So as you can see, look, this has nothing to do with allowing people to have guns who are mentally ill. It has nothing to do with anybody who would have otherwise been prohibited. If you were prohibited by law, if you were a felon, guess what? You still aren't allowed to own a gun. If you have been deemed to be mentally ill, you're still not allowed to have a gun. If under certain state laws there is a prohibition because you have certain misdemeanors, in that state you are still not allowed to own a gun. It doesn't change any of that. But that doesn't change the fact that they want to lie. They lie because they know that the truth is not on their side. They lie because they know it's the only way to get the American public to try to possibly be on their side. Lies are all they have. Mistruths are all they have. And they're working together, multimillionaires, the mass media, you name it. The left-wing establishment, left-wing gun-grabbing establishment is doing all that they can to make sure that you don't have your right to keep and bear arms. Because once again, they know that they can't get rid of the right, but they can make it almost impossible for you to be able to exercise it. They can make it so you can't get ammunition. They can make it so that you can't purchase a firearm. They can make it so that you can't sell a firearm. And they can restrict the people, the law-abiding citizens who are able to get access to a firearm. It is a sad day. I hope that each and every one of you will support this legislation as it goes forward. I know that we will be sending the word out, and we'll be calling on fire missions and encouraging you guys to both call and to email your representatives. But this is something that's got to change, folks. We cannot allow them to strip away the rights of law-abiding citizens. As I said before, this is the legislation that the Social Security Administration legislation was based on. If this had been done later in the administration, like the Social Security stuff was, it would have already been overturned. But it's going to take a little bit more work. It's going to take a little bit more effort. It's going to take all of us pulling together to make sure that these veterans get their rights back. Anyway, that's going to be it for today's Coffee with Craig. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being a part of the fight. And by the way, thank you for subscribing to our YouTube channel. Thank you for liking our Facebook page and encouraging others to do the same. We're seeing the numbers grow, and that's largely because you guys are the boots on the ground making it happen. And I just want you guys to know that we appreciate you guys very, very much for all the hard work that you do. Anyway, you guys have fun, take care, and stay free.
If you like our videos, follow, subscribe, like, and share.